good? I'm Winston A. Marshall, aka the Swaggy Blurred, and this is my Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny non-spoiler review. You do not have to worry. I'm not going to give you spoilers right now. I'm going to do a spoiler review a little bit later, so that'll give you some time to watch the film. This is just giving a little more in-depth thoughts than my instant reaction that I put up a little bit ago. So don't worry about spoilers again, but do me a favor. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you haven't done it already. Hit the notification bell, man, so you get the that notification when I'm putting stuff up. And I do put up stuff pretty frequently now. We're really trying to build out this channel, so I appreciate your support. But let's just jump into it. So a lot of people know, by the time you're seeing this, I had a gap in my film history. I have a pretty big one. I have a number of them, but one of the majors was Indiana Jones. So if you go back and look on my channel here, the CPT reviews should be up, and that's me watching films that have been out for a long time. Just give my 2 cents on it. So I got to like get introduced to Indy in like a 24 to 48 hour period, just watching all 5 now of the films. And I gotta say, again, you can watch those. Had a lot of love for Raiders. Was kind of meh on Temple of Doom. Like, had some fun, but it was like meh. But then here, with Dial of Destiny, I just was left hungry. I tweeted about it, and I put it to you this way. I mean that I watched the film. You set some pretty big stakes that the main villain is trying to essentially time travel. It's not a spoiler, really. The Dial of Destiny is about time travel. That's it. And so that's the artifact that they are chasing after. And you go on this grand adventure, and you know, the car chases and the fights and the tomb raiding and all that. And when it's all said and done, it just I was left just hungry. And what I mean by that is, like, you know, they always say, like, if you get like sushi or Chinese food, you might get really full in the moment, but within like 30 minutes you're hungry again. Well, in this case, when I was actually at the screening, I hadn't had anything to eat since like 11 a.m. Today. When I am recording this the same day of the screening, so I hadn't had anything to eat since like 11 a.m. this morning, and I went in there, didn't have time to eat dinner, so I just had the free popcorn that they give us for the screening, like a large one. And by the time I got up to leave, and I had eaten most of it, I was famished. I was so hungry. And I came home and, you know, made a protein shake, and now I'm doing this, right? That's how I felt about the end of this film. Harrison Ford does a great job as always, but he's definitely, you can tell it that he's like age. He's an old man, and they lean into Indy being old. Like they very much lean into him taking on that old man trope, like straight up. They don't hide it. The only time that they hide it in the cold open, essentially, you get a de-ageified Indy. And that in and of itself was interesting, just because you could clearly tell at some points, like, oh, that was a stunt man, or that was just straight CGI. And while I think they did a good job with his face, I think they did a pretty good job de-aging him. You can't de-age someone's voice. So you have this old gravelly man voice happening during the young Indy sequence here that kind of sets up the rest of the film. But yeah, as I was watching it, again, Harrison Ford does a good job as a character he's been in love with and crushed for 42 years. So he does, with what he's given, he does a great job in it. The supporting cast is really incredible. Mads Mikkelsen, as our main villain, does a very good job. Antonio Banderas has a fun role. Toby Jones does a really good job too, in his role. Great to see Karen Allen again. The only one that didn't quite hit for me is Phoebe Waller-Bridge. And I don't know if it's because of, I don't believe it's because of her acting, because the moments where she had to hit emotional notes, I think was really good. And you could feel that mischievous nature about her. Maybe it was just how she was written. And I think it also speaks to the fact that, again, I left hungry. And I keep saying that phrase because what ends up happening, again, as we've jetted through the world and we're dealing with the adventure and everything like that, it all just comes to a head very quickly and ends just as quickly. All of a sudden, we are back home talking about our adventures, wrapping up storylines, and you're just like, what just happened? Like, wait, really? Um, and that's the thing, because I think about what I just saw with, um, Raiders, and you get the arc, and they open it up, and it's this big thing. Oh my God, the Nazis are about to talk to God. This is awful. And then everybody's face melts. And it's like, okay, well, this thing, screw a museum, is being locked away forever in a warehouse. Temple of Doom, all this big buildup. You've got this situation with the sacrifices and everything. You got to escape the mine, and you take in the rocks, and oh my God, everybody's gonna die at some point. Willie's gonna die, and Short Round's gonna die, and Indy's gonna die, and we're on the bridge. You cut the bridge, and the alligators, and all that. Whoo, Lord, sigh. Just let it out. And that's not what happens here. I'm not going to tell you what happens because obviously you want to go see that for yourself. But it's just you'll see what I'm saying. At the last part of the big adventure is just, and then okay, let's say our goodbyes, take a bow, bye. So it just threw me off. And I think that was something that kind of hamstrung. Her name is Helena, Phoebe Waller-Bridge's character. You do see growth throughout. You do see her go from being somebody who's only focused on money and fortune and fame, like the old Indy, and then starts to really just start to care about people. But at times I just felt like, I don't know, it wasn't always earned. It was almost shoehorned a little bit, and so maybe that's what threw me off. But either way, I will say this. It is a fun, just popcorn romp. You can go in, watch the Indy that you're always used to. If I had to give it a rating out of 10, I'd probably give it like a 6.5. It wasn't bad, but it didn't blow my mind like what I just saw having watched the Indiana Jones films again for the very first time. So I don't have the childhood nostalgia that everybody else had, or this idea of like what it means to pop culture. I knew enough of the references, and it was cool to like understand that as I was watching it and see, oh, that's where that comes from. But like Raiders is a movie that's like a 9.9 to me. There's only like minor gripes, and that's a movie from '81. But like, you know what I'm saying? It's knowing how high of heights this has reached. This feels very similar to the sequel trilogy, where while you do want more of the franchise, it feels like it was more of a nostalgia cash grab a little bit. And that sucks because, again, you did have a powerhouse cast and you do have a phenomenal director in James Mangold. This just wasn't the sauce for me. That is my personal opinion, but I would love to know what you think, man. If you haven't seen the film yet, what are you most excited to see? Are you ready to see Harrison Ford back in the saddle? Are you curious about what Phoebe Waller-Bridge is doing with her character? Are you in it for Antonio Banderas? Because, again, he has a great little a great role in the film. That is a lot of fun when you're hanging with him. Or, as the nostalgia, you've been an indie fan forever. That's what you're here for. Or if you have seen it, what worked for you, what didn't work for you. I want to know about all of it down in the comments below, so please be sure to leave it. And once again, if you haven't already, please be sure to subscribe to the channel, man. I'm putting out these reviews. I'm putting out this comedy, the Breakfast AM news stuff. You don't want to miss it. So I really appreciate you helping me out there. At this particular juncture, as I'm recording this, I'm trying to get to 2,000. We're taking it steps at a time here. And on top of that, I'm trying to get the channel to a point of being monetized. So for that, a lot of it is watch hours. We got to hit 4,000, and we're right at about 1950, something like that. So please be sure, you'll see in the end card over here, watch all my reviews, man. Check them out. Go watch Breakfast AM News. Go watch all the sketches and all that good stuff. Please show some love. I would appreciate that. And lastly, go find me on the other social media platforms, man. TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. I'm cracking jokes up there, keeping myself sharp because I am getting back into the stand-up set. So I'm using those platforms as a means to continue to sharpen the tools, man, and get back on the saddle. Once this cast comes off my leg, it's over for you suckers. All right. So either way, thank you so much for watching this, man. I love y'all, and I will see you next time. I'm out of here. Peace.